Food fight!
Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da.
Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new edition of Geek to Me Radio. Today we are joined by creator Dre Ellis talking about his project from Prophecy Comics, Heavy as the Hand. We'll tell you about how you can support him in this endeavor. Later on in the show, we'll be talking with actor Max Casella from Doogie Howser, Boardwalk Empire, and The Sopranos about his new film, That Cold Dead Look in Your Eyes. All that and more, stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And if you're driving around the greater St. Louis area tonight, hearing us on the big 550 KTRS celebrating 25 years of broadcasting here in St. Louis, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching us on YouTube or Twitch or Twitter or wherever you're watching this on the stream, hello to you. And of course, if you're hearing us after the fact in the podcast form on Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Streamer, wherever you're getting your podcast from, thank you very much for subscribing there. And again, if you are on the YouTube channel, if you would hit that subscribe button, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel by the end of the year. We appreciate that very much. My first guest has been on the show with us just about a month ago, I guess, because we were talking about a project. And I love social media because you get to find people who you normally might not find. It's just the magic of putting your work out there and having people notice. And I noticed because he's local. He's right here in the greater St. Louis area. We were talking with Dre Ellis about his project from Prophecy Comics, and we're glad to have him back on the show. Dre, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing well. Thanks for coming back on. Heavy is the Hand, the comic book that we talked about last time. We talked about if you weren't listening last time, we were talking about the idea for the comic and the origin of the comic. So for people who might have missed the last time you were on, Dre, give people a little bit of the backstory about the story for Heavy is the Hand.
Well, Heavy is the Hand. It's a supernatural cosmic horror action thriller. And it's about a black woman who denies a deal with a powerful, influential group, and her family's killed. She's left for dead. Somebody finds her, heals her, and she finds this family heirloom, which is a cosmic sledgehammer, that was passed down like through her bloodline from her great-great-great-grandmother. And that was a shaman warrior priestess of her tribe. And she's going to use that weapon to get vengeance that she desires so greatly.
And I love the fact, like you mentioned, it like hits 5 or 6 different genres because you've got the cosmic elements, you've got the historical background of it, and it kind of hits with that family sense of things. So it, like you said, it hits on like 4 or 5 different levels, which I think is one of the things that intrigued me about the project so much in the beginning.
Yeah. When I first started writing it, like I told you last time, it was going to be a film at first. And, like, I was just writing it, and it was just coming to me. And, like, I don't follow, like you know, how Hollywood would be like, oh, you're supposed to write a script like this. I pretty much create my characters, and, like, I just listen to them like they already been through this. And I'm a therapist, you know. And the story came out so well. It started changing throughout the story, like, and that's why I had to make it like a genre bending script.
And it's kind of more fun, I think, that it's not just fitting into one box. It's not a superhero, something where she becomes a superhero, and it's not just a history kind of thing. It does, like you said, it's genre bending. So I think that's one of the reasons for me that it's got some appeal. Obviously, you decided to kind of translate it into a comic book form. What were was there any kind of a major challenge for you? Is like translating it from, okay, I want this to be a movie, but I'm going to have this be a comic book first. What was like the mind shift for you? Where did you kind of find yourself going? Did the story change at all, or was it just translating it to a different medium for you?
Yeah, it was just me just finding somebody that's like an excellent comic book artist. I found him right after I had started the Kickstarter, because I had started with somebody else. But like when I started it, the reason it's so high because I had went to another artist and somebody else, but like they gave me this ridiculous price, right? And like I had to back out because like my living situation wasn't that yet. You feel what I'm saying? So I found another artist and we teamed up and he helped me out. He drew some for me and he's the one that's translating it for me so it can become what it was. I don't know if they answered it, but when I found him, he's from Africa and stuff, so like it's like a wonderful experience just to speak to him and everything.
And for those of you who are watching on the live stream right now, Joey V has a picture of the Heavy as the Hand, the cover. You can kind of see the sledgehammer into the wall with the blood coming down. It's a very stoic image, and I think it's also kind of captures the essence of what you were talking about. So as a creator in a creative space, what were some of your influences that kind of led you? Like, was it a movie, a director, an actor, or in the case since it's becoming a comic book, was there a comic book artist or writer who kind of influenced you in the vein you've kind of taken this?
Well, the script, really, I want to write the script. Main thing that was in my mind before I had the story, I was like, if I'll make this into a movie, and somebody that's going to play her, the main person that inspired me was Lashana Lynch that plays on the new James Bond movie.
Yeah.
And pretty much it's like the character, like how she looks is inspired by her. Like how she looks though. Like as in her posture and like short haircut and stuff. So like if I ever did make it into a movie, I would choose her. You know.
Yeah, she's got between playing the new 007 and also a kind of a hardcore fighter pilot in Captain Marvel too. I think knowing that that's who you had in mind and then kind of picturing your story, everything that makes a lot of sense. I think that'd be a great casting choice.
Yeah. And, when it happened, I was like, oh yeah. And like next thing I know, like I told you before, the main character that you see on the Kickstarter, I named her after my great grandmother, my real great grandmother, and just trying to keep a legacy going in a way that like nobody else, like I feel like do. So like yeah, and that just inspired me to just push forward with the story and just do something new. Because also how Hollywood talk about diversity and stuff at first, and like I really want to see stories around like black women, black men centered around us. I don't want us to be like the side quest. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of everyone's been talking, especially it's come up with the Eternals, that people want to be able to see themselves in movies, in mediums, in comics, in TV shows, and that's the fact that you're kind of doing this as a representation, almost an extension of your family, but also it's something I like it because the creators who are doing stuff like you're doing on Kickstarter, they're doing projects that come from the heart, and it's not out of a big budget kind of, this is what the corporate media is putting out. So I think that's kind of it resonates on that level. And the fact that you're local too. If you're listening to this right now, if you're hearing us on 550 or if you're streaming us or anything like that, we'll put a link to the Kickstarter. But if you go to Kickstarter.com and just look for Heavy as the Hand, you can find more information on how you can help get Dre fully funded here if possible. And social media obviously has played a large part in, because that's how you and I connected, was on Twitter. But you use social media handles on Instagram and Twitter. Has that been, I guess, influential in helping you gain more traction with this? Have you found more people that you're connecting with and kind of expanding your net because of social media?
Yes. And it's been an excellent experience. Like when I started Prophecy Comics, it's like a real new company for me, because like I do filmmaking and I make music too, but I just wanted to just do something new and do something out of the norm that everybody would see it and be like, oh, why he doing that? He does this. It was just a huge step, and everybody supports, and I just appreciate all the support from everybody that like really showing me love and really want to see it. Like I only had I got the story and that, and I'm like I said, saving money, trying to get more art made, and like people are really pushing hard for me, and like that pumps me up, and like it really like motivates me, because people want to see it like so bad. And I just appreciate that.
Yeah, to kind of know, because you always hear, you turn on the TV and there's all sorts of bad stuff in the news and everything like that. But this is it kind of makes you feel a little bit good. This is the good side of social media, where you're a stranger to all these people, but there's people willing to back you in your dream and support you, and kind of they believe in what it is that you are creating. And it's interesting too, because you talked about doing film and music and everything like that. Is comic book I know it's an extension of being a screenplay and everything, that you're wanting to make this into a movie. But is this the comic book aspect kind of stretching new artistic muscles for you, or did it feel very natural to put this in comic form?
I feel like kind of both, because now I can take it to a level where if I don't have $20 million to make the movie I want, I'll just put that in comic book form first, and then sell it out there for like $5 or something, so people can really see my vision of like, oh, this how I really want my movie seen, but it'll be in book form. So like I felt like it's helpful to me, because it also helps me put it out there so the audience can see it like firsthand, like in their hands. Instead of me like just having it written down and like, oh, I can't wait for you guys to read this, when they can read it and see it, Yeah,
and the comic book can almost be looked at kind of like a proof of concept for this, because I know obviously we're living in an age now where stuff like The Boys and Jupiter's Legacy and things like that went from being a comic book or a graphic novel to being now a streaming service series or a movie and everything like that. So this actually might be the better way to go to help get it into screenplay and production too.
Yeah.
So with everything that's going on, you mentioned music and movie making, has that taken a back seat while you're focused on the Kickstarter and the comic book, or are you still doing the other avenues as well?
Well, I'm still writing scripts always, like no matter what. Still, like I make beats and stuff. I still make beats, because I'm gonna make the score for my films too. So like I gotta keep sharpening my iron, making sure it's ready for when it's time for me to. Oh, when I'm done with the movie, now it's time to start on the score, or
And so when you're looking at, you mentioned Lashana Lynch, when you're looking at movies, when you go see movies or TVs, are there any things that you see, because obviously you're still kind of working on this, are there things that you're seeing, it's like, oh, you know what, I'm going to incorporate something of this, or I'm going to make a new character kind of based on this? Is your story still evolving for Heavy as the Hand, or is the story pretty much laid out and it's kind of set in stone at this point?
Oh, this story right here is set in stone, but it's gonna it's gonna have 2 sequels already. Like it's already in my mind, and I already got it written down. The little treatments and everything for it. So this first story it's set in stone because it's like I said. Once people read it and read the comic book, when I do finish it and come out, they'll get an idea like, okay. And when they start asking questions like, okay, well, what's this? Oh, well, all that's going to be explaining this and this and this. And I'm going to have a prequel book for it too because of the hammer goes through the bloodline of the family. So
yeah.
And this is just one story of my comic book universe.
So with the prequel comic book, we're kind of giving the history of the hammer. Let's say this, you totally get everything laid out, and you are given let's say greenlit for a trilogy of films. Would the prequel comic be kind of like intermittent flashbacks that are kind of interspersed through the trilogy, or was that something that would just be something for the comic book realm itself?
Well, yeah, some of it would be like in the second one and in the third one, but it's mainly its own entity itself, the prequel, because like I said, the hammer goes through different people throughout the family bloodline of her family. So like, yeah, she can also see some stuff what happened, but like in this story, she's so focused on revenge, like it doesn't tap in that far with her because like she's still like holding on to revenge. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you mentioned you're writing these other scripts. What was it about this one that decided, hey, this is the one I'm going to do a Kickstarter for, make a comic book for? Was this your favorite of the ideas, or was this the most recent one you'd worked on and kind of felt the most natural to turn into a comic book? Kind of where did the idea for turning it into the comic book and thus the Kickstarter come from?
Well, yeah, I used to I would look at Marvel and DC. And like I feel like I want to make a comic book company, and just start making comics from the scripts that has high concepts. So like this one, I would say it's a high concept. I wrote it to try to film it myself, but as I got deeper into it, it got better and better. So as turned. It would probably cost a lot to make in a way because of like sometimes CGI and like certain things. And so I looked at it a lot, like when I finished the script, I was just like, all right, how am I going to get this made? And some just hit me like, I don't know if it's divine intervention or it was just something that just hit me. And, like I was just thinking about like DC Comics and like Milestone and like how they like, and I was like, well, why can't I be Milestone without DC? But they're different. Like everybody in my story aren't like superheroes, like for real. They're all like villains in a way because they all have their own perspectives, and we all think something is good until somebody else looks at it from their perspective. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like they're all anti-heroes in a way, but some of them are heroes, but it's more anti-heroes than anything. And like, I just wanted to feel genuine because everybody in my comic book multiverse, like literally is going to think like they literally have their own perspectives, like,
Right. Yeah. And that's the anti-heroes are always more interesting anyway, because they're not your standard Superman always do the right thing kind of people. They're motivated by their own, passions, their own desires, their own family, their own history. So I think that's, again, another reason why I think it's an interesting story for sure.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It took time to push that one out. I got other ones. But this one I had to because it was just speaking to me, and I can't be the only one enjoying it. I need other people to enjoy this as much as I do.
And we mentioned social media earlier. For people who are listening, if you just tuned in, let me try that again. If you just tuned in, we're talking with creator Dre Ellis from Prophecy Comics about his Kickstarter. If people want to find out more about you, about Prophecy Comics, tell people social media handles where they can get in touch with you and find out more about your projects and your art.
They can follow me on Twitter if they have a Twitter. Follow me at Prophecy Comics at PROPHECY _ comics COMICS. And on Instagram is Prophecy Comics, one word, at Prophecy Comics, one word, and my logo is a mushroom cloud.
Perfect. And we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. And again, if you're listening, Dre's local in the St. Louis area here, and it'd be great to see him make his goal, get this comic book fully funded, and then turn it into a screenplay. And we could all say we knew Dre back when he was just starting out. Now he's a big film star and comic book creator and everything else. That'd be a delight to see that happen.
Yeah. And we have 56 hours left, like literally. So
we're coming up on the this is the crunch time, folks. So again, if you're listening, Kickstarter.com, just search out Heavy as the Hand or search out Prophecy Comics. And of course, Dre does have links on his social media handles, as he mentioned, Twitter at Prophecy _ comics, and then on Instagram, Prophecy Comics, all one word. Dre Ellis, I appreciate your coming back on the show again. Hopefully this will take off for you, and if there's anything else we can do to help you out in the future, we'd certainly be glad to. But I appreciate your time this evening, and good luck to you.
Man, thank you for inviting me again, and it was a pleasure, always.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Be well. Thanks.
All right.
There he goes, Dre Ellis. And again, I love supporting local. Kickstarters are great because I love the indie creators anyway, but this is someone local here in St. Louis. So make sure you check out that Kickstarter. We're going to take our first commercial break. We're going to come right back talking with Max Casella. Please stand by.
Food fighters, figures, and combat carton each sold separately. Toys do not walk and talk.
A new racing team is shifting into Geek. Mask.
Tracker seen us. Don't race off on my account, Mayhem.
Mask, Buzzard, and Goliath, each sold separately with 2 figures.
Buzzard, convert. Ron, you flag cover. I'm heading upstairs, Nevada. Roger, Matt. Okay, Mayhem. This round's for you.
Mask, where illusion is the ultimate weapon. Mask, Goliath, and Buzzard each sold separately. New from Kenner.
Evil viruses are attacking the world's computers, and the computer warriors have been generated to stop them. A soccer trophy changes into an evil techno-tank, forcing the computer warriors down. Hiding in a Pepsi can, the computer warriors fight back and deliver a direct hit. But the viruses keep coming, so the computer warriors convert a clock into a digital laser blaster and wipe out the virus air attack.
Yeah!
Computer warriors, expect the unexpected. Each sold separately. Computer and pencil sharpener available fall 1990. Only from Mattel.
Our lords, extraterrestrial warriors.
I am Lord Power, leader of the lords. Griptog and Roygoth are attacking. We must help Psyduck defend Balkan Rock.
Our lords.
Griptog has 4 fists. Psyduck is finished. It's Lord Power. He zapped Griptog's head. But Arcus has Psyduck.
Our lords.
Adam Power's Psyduck, Griptog, and Arcus are each sold separately from the Power Lords collection, new from Revell.
In planet long ago, a genetic experiment fails. A civilization dies. The result, the Sectors, a strange combination of man and insect. Dargon, leader of the forces of good, and Dragonflyer battle evil Spydrax and Spiderflyer. You control every move of Dargon and Spydrax and their insectoids. This is Heroic Pinsor, another defender of good, and his attack crawler. Help him prevent the evil Skulk and his treacherous insectoid from discovering the secrets of the ancients. Secrets buried long ago when the last survivors hid them deep within the planet. Now you control the...
American, and you are listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to Geek to Me Radio. Live on the Big 550 KTRS every Sunday night. Hope you're enjoying your evening out there in the greater St. Louis area. Right now, we're going to go to the phones. We have actor Max Casella. He's got a litany of projects, which I'm sure you've seen him in at least a dozen or so TV shows or movies that you may recognize him from. He's got a brand new film out called That Cold, Dead Look in Your Eyes. Max, thanks very much for being on air tonight.
Hey, James, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. So this film, it seems interesting from so many different standpoints because it's got the feel of a foreign film, but it's got that thriller aspect, and it takes on so many different levels. Talk a little bit about let's start with talk a little about being cast in this film. Talk about the casting process for this.
Oh, well, this is a very good friend of mine, Onur Tukel, who directed it and wrote it and directed it. I've already done a bunch of movies with him, and he had already been filming this one. And he just said, "Hey, I wrote you a small part. You want to do it?" And of course, I said, "Yeah," because he's my good friend, and I trust him implicitly. I think he's a great artist. I've already done 2 other movies with him. The first one is when I met him. We did a film called Applesauce, which is a very dark comedy. It's a hysterical comedy. It's we made that a few years ago, and then I did another film with him called Scenes from an Empty Church about the pandemic that we did at the height of the pandemic last summer with Kevin Corrigan and Thomas J. Ryan about 2 priests in an empty church because it's locked down from the pandemic, and they're just miserable. And then this degenerate guy shows up, which is played by me. And so I'd already done these films with Onur, so I work with Onur all the time. I think he's a great artist. And when he told me he was doing a film all in French, he said, "Can you speak French?" I said, "No, but maybe I can learn, or I can try to do my lines in French." But then we figured that was not going to be plausible with the time scale that we had to work with. So yeah, so so I just came in. I did a little job for Onur. It was one of those things. You work with your friend. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds like, to make the analogy, because Christopher Nolan has his players that he uses, so you're kind of like Onur's Leonardo DiCaprio. He's always going to bring you in for a good role.
Maybe not, Leonardo DiCaprio. Maybe, yeah. It depends. It's not always the lead. You know what I mean? It's like I'm Johnny on the spot. Whatever you need me to do, I'm there.
But that's great. The role, it's great to have those interesting parts, though, too, that you're like, hey, we'd love to use you in this, because obviously as an actor, everyone always wants to be working anyway. But the fact that you have that trust and that relationship with someone like him who you're able to just be like, yeah, whatever you need, and he's going to put you in a role that perfectly suits your talent and ability.
Yeah, I trust his artistic vision implicitly. Onur's one of these people. Whenever he asks me to do something, I just say yes, sight unseen, because I trust him. That's all, And he happens to be a good friend of mine, so it's nice to work with your friends. It really is.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure.
And then he wrote and directed this piece too, so that's kind of I love the idea of people who write the movie also being able to direct it, because I feel like it more perfectly fulfills that person's vision, like they're able to carry the product all the way through to the way they actually imagined it, from putting pen to paper to actually realizing it on the final product on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, it's the ideal thing. It's not a job, he's an artist. He's writing, he's directing, it's his vision, it's his story that he's telling. It's not like a Hollywood thing where like you're hired to write this, this new Marvel movie, whatever it is, or you're hired. This is more personal.
Yeah.
These guys who write and direct it, it's purely their story. They're telling a story. They've written it. They're directing it. They're editing it. It's much more of a personal, artistic endeavor than, say, just a job. You know what I mean? In Hollywood.
And a lot of these indie projects like this, too, it really has some meat on the bone for actors to take on parts. They're well-written and well-crafted because they don't have, like you mentioned, the Marvel movies. They don't have just a budget to throw at it and say, here we go, because if you put a Marvel sticker on something, regardless of the movie, it's going to put butts in seats, where these movies like this one, people gravitate to these because it feels like you're truly witnessing a masterpiece, a craft that people have honed, and it's coming out, and you're getting to see something unique.
It's a guy's unique storytelling abilities, and I just recommend highly everybody. All his movies are available on Instagram. What am I saying? On Amazon Prime, check out Applesauce. Check out Scenes from an Empty Church. And definitely check out that Cold Dead Look in Your Eyes. This is a director who should be way more famous than he is. It's just the times we're living in with streaming it being like just this overwhelming, ocean of content.
Sure.
And and a small film it just drops on Amazon somewhere, and then it just gets lost. I don't know what the answer is, but it's not a good time for outside of Hollywood personal, films and stories. And in the '90s, this would have been at every great art house cinema across the country. You know what I'm saying? And it would have been given a much more of a. In the '90s, you had a guy like Harvey Weinstein. Despite all of his horrible, rapes, he gave us Quentin Tarantino. He gave us Steven Soderbergh. He gave us, a litany of great directors who are today big A-list star directors. You know what I mean? But they were given a platform for their, David O. Russell. You know what I'm saying? It's just really hard now for independent cinema to get the attention it deserves.
Yeah.
The only exception I would say right now would be a guy like Sean Baker. He's really broken through as a great filmmaker. Who's an independent filmmaker. His first film was called Tangerine, about a bunch of transgender women. And he shot it on his cell phone, and it was a great movie. And then he followed that up with The Florida Project, which is a great movie also. So he's a bit more the exception to the rule. But generally, it's really hard to get attention to your film nowadays.
Yeah. You mentioned, it's just that the din out there. You have to be heard above the din, which is kind of hard, like you said, especially with Amazon Prime, with every TV network having its own streaming service.
It's just there's no comparison to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. There's just a tsunami of content.
Yeah, but you mentioned those
how do you get your show? How do you get people to look at it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you get people to
so many people
check
competing?
It out? Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I implore people, please check out Onur Tukel. He's a great filmmaker.
And we'll put a link in the show notes to his IMDb page if you're wanting to check out more of Onur's work too. Again, Cold Dead Look in Your Eyes. If you're listening to this right now, you probably can go in and find it on demand starting November the 9th, which is coming up here Tuesday. So you can probably go in and see it. It probably has the poster up there on your streaming service. You can probably put it in your queue so you don't forget to check it out and watch it.
Check out the trailer. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, the trailer is incredibly intriguing. Like I said, it's got all these different elements. Like I said, it kind of hits you at first like a foreign film, but then you realize it's a thriller, and then psychologically, it's the trailer has so many different levels on that I can't imagine that the movie won't blow some minds.
Oh, absolutely! It's set in New York City, but most of the characters are French speaking. So, a lot of it takes place in a French restaurant, and I play the owner of the French restaurant, who's not speaking French. But a lot of the main characters are speaking French, and I don't know exactly why Onur decided to make a film with French speakers in it, other than I think it was just one of those things that he could explain it better than I could. But his friend Franck, who stars in the film, is a Frenchman, and it was one of those things. He decided to just tell the story in French, but it's not all in French. It's set in New York City in the present day. You know what I mean? It's just super creepy, horror, and tell people to check it out, man. It's really, really great.
Yeah, definitely. And it's got an amazing cast, too. We've got Nora Arnazeder from Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. You've got obviously yourself, but it's obviously it takes a good cast to tell a great story, and it seems like that was definitely the case here.
Yeah, absolutely. He I mean, he always uses like really interesting people. Some of them I didn't know before this, but I've seen the film, and everybody's brilliant in it. It's really great, and it's really trippy. It's really, really freaky. It'll freak you out. It's not like a classic horror film, but it's terrifying at times.
Yeah, I think just like from the bit I saw, I almost feel like if an Alfred Hitchcock film and an Edgar Wright film had a baby, it would kind of like come out something like this. But it's such an intriguing project. Like I said, if you're listening right now, go ahead and mark it on your streaming service. That Cold Dead Look in Your Eyes. It'll come out this coming Tuesday, so you can check that out if you're in the post-Halloween blues and you want to put a little bit of that suspense, that horror back in your life. This would be a great one to pop on when you're hanging out and getting ready to watch a movie.
Check out the trailer. Check out the trailer. You will be hooked. You will want to watch the film.
And I want to talk about, because obviously you had so many different roles. You've been one of those actors who's constantly working, and you always have these great roles. When you think back to, going all the way back to Doogie Howser, but then you've done in The Sopranos, you've done Boardwalk Empire, Ray Donovan, even into one of my favorite series, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. You've done all these great projects. What are some of your... I don't want to say your favorites, because that's kind of just give me your favorites projects. But what is some of the roles that you found that you've taken on that have been more challenging for you and have kind of sharpened your teeth as an actor?
Let's see now. That really challenged me as an actor. Probably something I've done on the stage was the most challenging. Certainly doing Samuel Beckett was extraordinarily challenging. I did a production of Samuel Beckett's Endgame with John Turturro and Elaine Stritch at BAM, Brooklyn Academy of Music. And that was really, really hard material. And some of the Shakespeare I've done on stage was not like super challenging, but took a little more, the language is archaic, It's like so you gotta make it sound like it's coming right out of your brain and not like written 400 years ago. So that stuff's complicated. You know what I'm saying? To really make that stuff come to life.
Absolutely. And again, we're talking
nothing really I've done in front of the camera, unfortunately, has been all that challenging. I mean, as much as I enjoy it immensely, I wouldn't say particularly challenging. I mean, maybe there was an accent I had to work on. I played Jack Valenti in Pablo Larraín's Jackie, about Jackie Kennedy, the Natalie Portman movie, and I had to have a Texan accent. Even that wasn't that challenging. It's just an accent. You have to learn it, you study it, you do it. But I got to say, the toughest material I've ever done is Samuel Beckett. It's really hard material, but it's great. It's really great, and some of it's hysterical, but it is very, very hard to make it fly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you're just now tuning in, we're talking with the actor from That Cold Dead Look in Your Eyes. We're talking with Max Casella. Do you mind holding with us while we take another quick commercial break?
Sure, no problem. My pleasure.
I appreciate that. We're talking with Max Casella for the rest of the hour. If you'd like to send us a text message, you can do so at 84126. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back, so please stand by.
Legions of Power, awesome motorized machines you build for battle, each sold separately.
Walker, power on! Put you on battle crawl!
Legions of Power! Build for battle!
Legions of Power, new from Tonka.
Calling all boys for Army gear. Weapons check. Your machete has a hidden power.
There's a troop of 6 and a lookout tower.
That canteen so much more, I hear.
There are planes and torpedoes in this Army gear. Take a look at this watch I wear. Weapons and troops are gathered there. An army and an army, all right here.
Bring the fire. Join the Army here. The Army in an Army. Open to reveal 2 worlds of battle action. From Galoob.
It's the new wacky action wind-up turtles.
Who you calling wacky?
How about Break Fightin' Raphael, who spins to attack with foot stars and Ratola?
That's not wacky.
Well, what about sewer swimming Donatello, who gets into the swim with spear and scuba jet? Or rock and roll Michelangelo with spinning action arm and weapons?
Well, now we're talking wacky.
No.
Hey guys, this is Raoul Coley and I play Dr. Ravi Chakrabarti on the CW's iZombie, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
We are back on the Big 550 KTRS. Want to make sure we tell you about our official movie sponsor, Marcus Theaters. MarcusTheaters.com is the website if you want to go there to check out what movies are playing in your area. Marcus Theaters and Movie Tavern. So if you go find the location closest to you, you can buy your tickets right there on the website. Check out movie reviews and more. A lot of great movies out. We just saw Eternals last week, but there's the new James Bond movie is out. Last Night in Soho was great. The French Dispatch from Wes Anderson's out. There's a movie to fit every taste. You can still see the new Jamie Lee Curtis movie Halloween Kills that's out in theaters right now. So there's a little something for everyone. You'll find the best way to see it is at a Marcus Theaters. Go to MarcusTheaters.com to get your tickets, and you can even download the Marcus Theaters app for your smartphone or your smart device. You can buy your tickets right there. You can also order your concessions online so they're ready and waiting for you for a more contactless experience. And if you're celebrating something, maybe the holidays are approaching, you want to do a bit of an office thing that's kind of fun, you can rent a private cinema at a Marcus Theaters or Movie Tavern location. Just go to the website to check out the rates in your area. Usually they start around $99. You pick your movie, you get up to 20 people. You can add concessions and things like that to make it more of a custom event for an office party or maybe a celebration or an anniversary or a birthday, something like that. But it's always a good time. And if you're going to see a movie, do it in the best possible surroundings. MarcusTheaters.com, again, is the website for the best movie-going experience in the galaxy. We're chatting with actor Max Casella about that cold, dead look in your eyes, and new movies out as of this coming Tuesday. We were talking right before we went to break, Max, about the stage stuff, and I know a lot of actors, as big of a career as you've had in movie and TVs and voiceover work, all actors tend to kind of gravitate. They can never get that taste of doing the stage out of their system. Is that something you find, like, no matter what you're doing project-wise, be it Boardwalk Empire or whatever, you miss the stage, the live crowd?
Yeah, I mean, I love doing live theater. It's where I started out. I started out on the stage, and I wouldn't want to just make a career out of it by just doing theater, because it doesn't pay. You know what I mean? You can't make a living. But I mean, sometimes, I've been on Broadway. I was in the original company of The Lion King, and I was making like $5,000 a week on that or something. So that's sort of like the exception to the rule. But the kind of theater I do, which would be like sort of off Broadway, you only get like $500 a week or something crazy. You can't live on that. But I do it because it's fun. It's nothing else like it. I mean, doing a piece from beginning to end, from 8 p.m. till the end of the show, with you just get a kind of a camaraderie with your castmates that you don't get in the films. You could be in the same movie as someone and never even meet, for one thing.
Yeah, that's very true.
But when you're on the stage together, it's like, you're kind of like you're going to, I don't want to say going to war, because it's not like, a negative thing. But I mean, you're like in it together. You're delivering an experience to the audience in real time. And there's just nothing like acting in front of a live audience. There's nothing like it. I can't explain it. I just love it. I would always want to do a play. I'd like to do a play maybe every year, every other year. But, I'd like to primarily do films and TV, which I also love. I love my job.
Yeah.
I love being, I love working with cameras and crews and stuff like that. And I love being on the stage too. It's like I wouldn't want to, not do a play every once in a while. I will say that.
And one of our listeners, Leanna Kopchak, mentioned that she loves you as Racetrack in Newsies.
Yeah, Newsies, that was the first movie I ever did. That was like 1991. I was on Doogie Howser at the same time, so I was sort of jumping back and forth. In the daytime, I was doing Doogie, and then at night I would go shoot some scenes for Newsies. Yeah, it was the first movie I ever did.
When you were working on something like Doogie Howser, was there ever a fear? Because I know this happens with a lot of actors, especially in TV shows, where they'll end up getting typecast. You didn't seem to have that problem because you've done a variety of different roles across a variety of different genres and projects. Was there ever, when you were doing it back then, do you remember having any fear of being typecast?
Yeah, I had the fear of it, and I might have been typecast. I was playing a teenager, so I wasn't quite fully grown up.
Mm-hmm.
But I was actually 21 when I started doing Doogie Howser, so I wasn't even a child,
right?
You know, but I looked like one for all intents and purposes. I was a child actor, although I was not
right.
at all. And then I had to sort of reinvent myself as an adult actor. And there was a period of time there where it was really rough, and I couldn't get any work because people just would, they would think of me as Vinnie Delpino off of Doogie Howser. And then I started growing up, and then I was like, you changed the product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not like that kid off of Doogie Howser. Now you're a grown man, and you almost had to start over. That's why a lot of kid actors don't really have careers as adults. I mean, there's obvious exceptions like Jodie Foster, but generally they don't. A kid actor stays a kid actor, then they grow up and do something else.
Yeah. Do you, as an actor, obviously part of the business is rejection and getting turned down for parts, and there's that heartbreak in it too. What is the best way that you found in your career? How do you deal with rejection? What's the best way? Like if there are actors out there right now who might be listening, struggling with, I'm not sure if this is the right job for me. It's something I don't know if I can do it. How do you personally deal with it? And what's kind of the best advice you may have gotten about dealing with rejection throughout your career?
I always say that rejection and failure are the norms, and you're just constantly trying to move the needle a little bit towards success, but it always defaults back towards rejection and failure. And you just got to accept that. It's not personal. Rejection is the norm. It's where it all begins. It all begins and ends with rejection and failure. You just got to have such a strong belief in yourself. It's tough. Sometimes it's tough, and you feel like it gets under your skin. You go God, I can't get anybody to believe in my talent, seems like. But I mean, I've been doing this for 40 years. I got 1 million credits. I've been acting. I've been in a ton of stuff. But it's rejection is right next to me at all times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's right next to me. Rejection and failure is a part of being an artist. You don't do your art because, you're going to become rich, or you do your art because you're an artist and you're compelled to express yourself in a certain way. So that's my thing. If you don't love it, you'll quickly get out of it because it's not going to give you a hell of a lot outside of your love of the work itself. Most actors will just act for free because they love it. I also say, I think there's a joke. It's like I act they pay me to wait around. I act for free.
That's good. I like that. I've not heard it put like that before, but yeah, it's always hurry up and wait. But yeah, if you enjoy it, like you said, and plus you get to work with people who you know and respect, like Onur Tukel in that Cold Dead Look in Your Eyes, which makes it, I'm sure, seem less like work.
Exactly. I mean, actors, like any other kind of artist, we all just live to perform and to be. It's an art form. It's just an art form. And if you're an artist, you're just compelled to to perform or to do your art, of whether it's writing or painting or whatever. Be damned, the rejection. And you don't, who cares? Yeah, it's hard. You want a job and you didn't get it. It's disappointing. Sometimes you don't care. You didn't get a part. Sometimes, I really wanted that. That's just a part of it. It's not like any other job. You got to really be kind of nuts. You got to be a little bit nuts. You got to be just. You got to just love to act. That's all there is to it. Because it's, it's not like another job where, you go to college, you get a degree, you get okay, you're going to be a lawyer now, or you're going to be a doctor now. You did the prescribed education, you went to medical school. Now you're a doctor, you know what I mean? And now you have a practice. And there's nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing like that. As an actor, you're constantly having to prove that you know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's bananas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been doing it 40 years, and I'm constantly going, no, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't know. You prove it to me. I don't know if I want you to play this part. Let me see you tap dance. You know what I'm saying? It's like it never ends.
Yeah, can you speak French? Something like that.
Yeah, whatever it is, you're constantly being asked to do something crazy. Like, okay, you got an audition, but you got to speak a little Mandarin. I hope that's okay. Like, what? That's just the way it is. It's crazy. It's nuts.
I always think of when I think of actors talking about stuff, I always think of Joey from Friends, who had all those weird things on his resume. Like, he couldn't really speak French, but he had it on the resume that he can do that.
That's the classic thing. Yeah. Juggling. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't, a horseback riding. I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. Yeah, sure.
Cross-country skiing? Absolutely. Whatever you need.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem.
And we've just got a few minutes left. I wanted to ask you, too, about voice work, because you've talked about stage, you've talked about TV and movies and everything like that. Voice work with stuff like Courage the Cowardly Dog, which I love that cartoon dearly. And then, obviously, famously, for Daxter in Jak and Daxter in different video games. Is voiceover work something that you've kind of dipped your toe in, but it's not really something you enjoy and love? Or is it one of those things where if the project comes along, you'll definitely be in?
Oh, you know what? I had it going really good for a while with the voiceover work. I was making a ton of dough, and then it dried up. I don't know why. I did all these Jak and Daxter games. I did a bunch of Chips Ahoy commercials, and I was doing really great guns with that stuff, and then it just stopped. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just stopped. I don't know. It's easy money. It's fun. I would love to. It'd be like, I would love to do more voiceover work, but I don't know why. It just dried up for some reason.
Yeah, it's from what we've had to actual voice actors on the show who that's their full-time profession, and even they say it's a grind. You go always auditioning, and they'll have to have all these projects knocked out and everything like that.
Yeah.
So it's
Sure.
like you said, there's you have to be a little bit crazy, I guess, for no matter what aspect of the business you choose.
Yeah, I never loved it. You know what I mean? Like, I never really valued it that much. It was just like, but the money could be really, really great, and it's so convenient because you can do it kind of anywhere.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of video games. I did, again, like you said, the Jak and Daxter games. God, I just did so much of it. And then I just stopped. I don't know why. But I don't really pursue it. You know what I mean? It's not something that really interests me. I mean, I don't pursue it. It just stopped. It came my way, and then it went another way. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, well, it's not like you're lacking for projects. There's always something going on. It seems like you've got a lot going. And again, want to remind people who are listening that Cold Dead Look in Your Eyes on demand this coming Tuesday, November the 9th. Let people know where they can find you if they want to keep up with you on social media handles, websites, things like that.
Yeah, my social media, I'm on Instagram. It's Max, M-A-X, Casella, Casella. And then you can see I posted a trailer to that Cold Dead Look in Your Eyes, as well as all the other jobs I've been doing and all the other shows I got coming out. You can check it all out on my Instagram, max.casella, max.casella. There you go.
Perfect. Max Casella, it's been an absolute delight for me to talk to you. I love so many roles you've played, and it's my absolute privilege to have you on the show tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it, James. I really appreciate talking to you.
You too. Be well. Thank you.
Take care, my man.
You
Take
too.
care.
There he
Bye-bye.
goes, Max Casella. Make sure you check out that Cold Dead Look in Your Eyes. We're going to put a link to that in the show notes as well. We want to make sure we mention our premier sponsor right now, the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. You know them from the website, which is, of course, discoverstcharles.com. And they are the premier sponsor of this show. Would not be on the air without them. They were the first people I approached to back the show. They were the first people to say yes, and they've been with me since the beginning, back in 2016. Hard to believe we had the show on the air that long. But it's a great time. If you just missed Legends and Lanterns, they put on a heck of a Halloween bash, and they're going to do it again for Christmas. That's right. Christmas Traditions is right around the corner. It'll start on the day after Thanksgiving and go through, I believe, the day after Christmas with the big Santa send-off that they do. But you can get out there and interact with different Santa Clauses from around the world. There'll be different gift givers. They're doing a special Dickensian Christmas on Wednesday nights. You can check that out as well. That is going to be a great time if you want to get out with the family and do something like that. Never a bad time to visit St. Charles, of course. If you're from in the greater St. Louis, St. Charles area, just go right across the bridge, spend some time down on Main Street, get some great food, check out some good shopping. If you're from out of town, check out the website for places to stay. Once again, discover stcharles.com, as we always say, for a historically good time. Until next week, my friends.
It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Scotty Young art. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio. That's our show.
Merci beaucoup, New York City. Bonne nuit.
This is the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis, Wildwood, De Pere,